title.
I'm sure you can tell where that came from.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you be my neighbor? Because I want to replace that dickhead.
Hello, neighbor. Ooh,
Wouldn't you?
we went live.
We did. Twitch is making me watch an ad on my own goddamn channel.
Like it does every week.
Every single week. I don't know why I get pissed anymore. It's normal. And now I'm just waiting to make sure YouTube is live. The internet can totally see you now. To stop, use your encoder. Thank you, YouTube, for letting me know that the audience can totally see us now.
YouTube always there for you.
And because I don't want any of the Twitter trolls, I'm not even going to tweet out the stream. Hey guys, welcome to the show without an intro. It is Big Box Weekly. I am Greg.
I'm Tim.
And we are here.
What up, Kevin? 10 out of 10 YouTube. Yes. That's one thing that YouTube is famous for, is supporting their content creators. They're famous for it.
Well, you know what they're doing, though? They're not making me watch an ad on my own goddamn stream, so...
Cool.
So, like, I give them credit for that.
Yeah.
At least a little bit.
A little bit. How's everybody doing tonight? Kevin, I'm doing okay. It's Sunday.
I am doing quite better now, because the car horn has stopped for the past half hour since I went out and yelled at some fucks.
Sometimes you gotta yell at a fuck.
I think I just need to make a video of me yelling like I did, just to
I think you should
show people how freaking loud I get. Because I'm pretty sure people at the opposite end of the lake heard me.
How big's your lake?
It's a big lake.
Big fish in the big lake.
There are some, yeah. Let me Google it real quick. Let me just figure out.
So it's like 80 here, and which doesn't sound like it's that big of a turn down the gain and demonstrate. Yeah.
1.2 square miles.
Okay, that's fair enough.
It's
80
miles
doesn't.
long. So it's a big lake.
Oh, yeah. 80 doesn't sound too warm, and usually it's not if you in July or mid August. 80 sounds pretty cool, but when you're used to it being like 60 for the last week, and all of a sudden they throw an 80 at you, it's like, fuck, really?
Well, I get into my car this morning when I'm leaving work, and I turn the AC on because it's humid as hell because it's just getting ready to rain. And this is a first for me. The vents of my air conditioner on the dashboard were condensating.
Really?
Yeah. That's the kind of weather we have.
Nice.
It's an interesting time to be alive, sir.
It is.
Oh, man. So I have 2 rants, and once they get started, I don't know if they're going to stop. So I'm going to ask if you have anything to talk about first.
Oh, okay.
Because I got 2 rants.
I got something. And I'm trying to quickly think of how to word this without possibly offending anybody, because it's not meant to offend anyone. There's just a observation.
You can let me have it, Tim. I don't think I'm sure it's about me because I'm an asshole.
I don't think you fit this demographic, though.
Oh, okay.
So it's soccer today. My son's team played a team that was
different nationality.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're a nationality that's known
for being good at soccer.
Football. They take their football very, very seriously.
And they are a country with a 6-letter name, I presume?
Yes.
Okay. I think I am on point with you here.
So, there's fine. They have every right to take football seriously.
Yeah.
This particular team had had rented a bus, a coach, a tour bus, and they had tents, and they brought down a shit ton of food and drinks, and I don't know how long they were at the particular football pitch.
They were tailgating the youth soccer game.
Kind of, but where they had to park the bus and to where the field is, it's like half a mile away. So they had to carry all the shit from this tour bus across, and it's not even land. It's hilly and stuff. Okay. And there's just not a sidewalk. You're walking on dirt.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you know, I walk into this, and the game hasn't even started yet. I'm like, oh Jesus, we are going to get our ass stopped because a shitty team doesn't do this. A shitty team doesn't rent
that
a full size. It's one of those buses that has a toilet on it.
That is accurate. Yeah, a shitty team wouldn't do that.
And
a
sure
shitty team
enough,
would be showing up in like their freaking Honda Civics.
Right. Not the profile.
I don't know why Honda Civic. That's just my go-to shitty vehicle, guys. Just
well, it is
because it's always a stanced out shitty Honda Civic over here, anyways.
But they run forever, though. Anyway,
that's true.
And sure enough, 15 seconds into the game, boom, they score, and it wasn't even close. They're like, oh, here we go. They might as well just end it now.
Game.
So the final score was 10-2. 10 might not be accurate.
Mercy rule.
Not them. We won 10-2.
Huh?
It was. I don't know if that first goal was just a complete fluke, but then we just went down and piss pounded them, and I'm like, so wait a minute here, back up.
You guys train up.
Who are trash, rented a fucking bus, packed up enough food to feed the 5th Division, 5th Cavalry,
the 5th Reich,
and you barely got 2 goals on us. I'm like, oof. They had noisemakers and some sort of a horn that sounded like a dying moose, and in all of this, and like, that's gonna be a long ride home because they got like an hour and a half to go back to where they came from. From
God.
It's like, wow, okay. So I don't know. You never know what you're gonna get into. Don't judge a book by its cover or a situation by its cover.
Here's the thing, though. Nationality aside, why are they renting a bus if they're that shit?
I don't know.
That's the part that's hanging me up. That's the only part of this that's hanging me up. I can get, if you're doing a long drive, bringing down some pop-up tents and food and shit, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But the bus...
Or if it's like an all-day tournament.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
But the
bus... one game.
I mean, if it's an all-day tournament, I can see a bus to bring the whole team down together. Oh, boy. I'm expecting a fucking 20-1 score in a game like that.
So are we.
If you even can get a 1.
So, I mean, it caught me completely off guard. How we kept scoring, and I'm like, am I in another dimension here?
You see, you mentioned... So, you mentioned, God, my thought. Okay, you mentioned the, the noisemakers and stuff.
Yes.
That reminds me of, oh, God, so many years ago, back when Worcester Sharks, farm team of the San Jose Sharks, were our team. We sold them off to somewhere else, and we brought in...
For Babe Ruth.
We brought in the Railers.
Okay.
Because apparently we're a famous railroad area, which
oh.
I know we're like a famous steel area, an industrial area. I didn't realize railroad went quite along with that. But, hey... It's okay.
The Boston hub.
I guess.
Yeah.
But anyways, it reminds me way back when. Actually, I'm going to date myself here for anyone who's from the area. Almost to Ice Cats era. Like, right after Ice Cats, I used to go to a lot of Sharks games. Because I was a big hockey fan back then. And I just remember every time the Manchester Monarchs came to town, Manchester, New Hampshire, they had the most obnoxious fans... And they always had the loudest goddamn cowbells.
Cowbells, yes.
Cowbells. And I just remember, we always just stomped the shit out of them. Oh my God. Between them and the Hartford Wolfpack, they were the most obnoxious fan base, and we always destroyed them. I remember one game where we were having a bad game, and they beat us 1-0. Like, we just destroy. Wolfpack is still bad. Okay, thank you for confirming that, Kevin. I think the Monarchs are still shit, too. I haven't gone to an AHL game in a while. But, like, it just... It reminds me... But, yeah, like, stuff like that. And I remember, and I mentioned the Ice Cats real quick. I will date myself again here. I sang the national anthem at the last ever Worcester Ice Cats home game.
You sang the national anthem?
Yeah, buddy.
Really?
Swear to Christ.
I don't picture you as a singer.
I don't either.
Why? How did you get that gig?
Because I'm a wizard, Harry. No, I swear to Christ, though. I sang national anthem down on the ice at the very last home game of that team in their final season.
Give me an "Oh Say Can You See."
Oh, sick. I don't sing anymore. Plus, I'm sick.
Oh, okay.
Dude, we sold them in like 2005.
Oh.
This is long ago.
You were like 50?
I was like 45.
Okay.
Like second grade or so.
Okay.
I actually used to be a very good artist. Like, I could draw and paint and shit, and I was good at it. And I used to be a good singer. And then I stopped giving a shit.
Okay.
Like, why did you correct sing to sing, Kemet?
That's why, I don't know, that's why I did it.
Kemet,
I did it again.
Are you drunk? Oh, man. Okay.
So that's a little tidbit about Greg C96 that we didn't know before, and I can't believe.
I used to sing, and now the only time I sing is when I'm doing a legal 65 down the highway with the windows down and the radio on, because I drive a lot.
All right.
And
so typical singing. Then.
I think everyone sings in their car. If you say you don't sing in the car, you're lying.
You're lying to your.
Because everyone at some point sings in the car on a long-ass drive.
Yes.
And it's what keeps me sane. I sing along to some 4 Year Strong.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, that's right. They're kind of a local thing. I sing along to some 4 Year Strong, some The Who.
Okay.
Yeah! Some Cheap Trick.
Oh, from my neck of the woods. They're from a town that's an hour away from me.
Some blind melon.
Rip.
Yeah. Poison. Tommy Two-Tone.
Oh. Poison.
Every once in a while, a little bit of Men at Work. Scorpions. Okay. I have a weird ass collection of music on my phone.
Scorpions. Scorpions.
Yes, a nice legal 65, Kevin. I never speed.
Correct.
Buddy, on the other hand, holy shit. I think I told that story. I'm in his car, passenger seat, and he's doing freaking a buck down the highway.
I thought you said your body. I'm like, what, your body?
My mind keeps telling me no. Oh, crap. Okay, so I have 2 rants.
Yes.
Which one should I start with? The neighbor rant or the work rant? I feel like I should start with the work rant because the neighbor rant ties into the title of the stream.
Oh, okay.
So, on Friday night into Saturday. Okay, let me get something straight here. Let me put this out there. The way overtime works in the state I work in, Connecticut, you have to physically be in the building for 40 hours that week for hours to count. For hours to count towards overtime hours.
Okay.
I took Wednesday off because it was the overlap day. I took Wednesday as a PTO day to let my ears and stuff heal up a bit, let the meds do their work.
Sounds
reasonable.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I get in there, and Thursday night now I do a 10.5-hour day, which I'm okay with. I don't mind doing a half hour at straight time. That's not a big deal. That's not that long because my normal day is a 10-hour day because I only work 4 days a week. So I do a 10.5.
Okay.
Well, Friday night into Saturday, shit starts going down at around 2:30 in the morning. I'm scheduled to get out at 4:30. Things start. I'm trying to figure out like how I can say this without giving away too much information. I work for a major distributor.
Yes.
That's a way to put it. I work for a major distributor. We have a lot of conveyance and sorting systems for distributing packages, product, whatnot.
Yes.
Well, our main, what's called the shipping sorter, the thing that basically takes packages and sends them out to their destination of which truck they need to go to.
With you.
That started filling up. And as I'm sure you can imagine, that's the last step. So when that fills up, it kind of trickles back and stops every single process in the building.
I would imagine, yeah.
And it's filling up. And at first, it fills up, and they're having some issues with a couple of dock doors where the e-stop and the run signal are wired backwards.
Uh-oh.
So it's running, and it's telling the system that it's e-stopped and unavailable.
This doesn't sound good.
I got those ones straightened out, and the ship sorter starts to empty. And we're getting closer to 4, and I'm half hour away from leaving, and it starts filling up again.
Uh-oh.
We have 1,022 package carriers on there, and there's 15 available. So at this point, operations is starting to have their workers stand down. And you know how bad that becomes, because that's lost labor and lost profit.
Yes.
So it's now 4:30, and I'm still working on this problem. And it's like, well, shit. Because now I'm doing all this exorbitant amount of overtime on this shift at straight time. And not time and a half. So that stings. Because
yeah, a little
time
bit.
and a half puts me up at I'm going to shoot you a message and group me real quick. I don't want to give an actual number, but you'll understand here.
Okay.
This is what time and a half puts me to as an hourly rate. And now you'll know why it really hurts that it was straight time.
Yeah.
So, it hurts.
Yeah,
so I'm there, and I'm still trying to work out this problem. Oh, it's that much, Kemet. It's a lot.
It's noticeable.
It's a significant amount. It's
Yeah.
It's about 3 times what I was making at my previous job before this. I'll leave it at that. Sing. Sing. So it's now 5:30, and there are only 2 of us in facilities left in the building. And this other guy is supposed to go home an hour ago, but he's not going to leave me alone to deal with this problem. So big thanks to you. You know who you are.
Dick.
And now it's coming up on 6 o'clock, and I'm still not seeing anyone come in. And this is now escalating. They have this basically a 5-step escalation system. It works backwards. 5 is low, problem. 1 is wake up some motherfuckers in the company and figure this out.
It's like DEF CON then.
Pretty much. So DEF CON 2 is when conference calls start happening.
Okay.
We're at DEF CON 3.
Okay.
On this issue. And I look at the ops guy, and he's back and forth trying to figure out to drop this to a DEF CON 2 or not. And I go, look, do me a favor. You have a ticket. You can put all of your lost time on this ticket. If you put this to DEF CON 2, it means one of the 2 of us actively trying to fix this problem has to go get on a stupid conference call. If you keep it at DEF CON 3, while it's harder for you to justify all the lost time on it, it keeps both of us working.
Gotcha.
So he agrees to keep it at the DEF CON 3. But he's only there till 7 when the shift change happens.
Oh.
So now it's about 6:30. I'm 2 hours past when I'm supposed to be here, and I finally see first sign of reinforcements coming in for the day shift. And isn't it my goddamn controls lead for the daytime that is a useless piece of crap? He comes over, and we have, like, light indicators to show, like, if a chute is full, for example. Because the way it works is product will loop around X number of times, and if it can't get to its specific chute, it goes out through a kick-out to get reinducted, basically. It creates, if it's recirculating for that amount of time, there's probably something wrong, so it needs to be handled. That's basically the purpose here. But the way they're doing this is instead of, like, actually, like, scanning the package and seeing why it got kicked out, they're just throwing it right back on the line because there's such high volume getting kicked out.
Oh.
And that kick out is now filling up. And let's just say it's purple lighting, and we'll call purple light full. I want to be kind of descriptive, but I don't want to actually start giving away real information so that someone can be like, oh, this guy, I know, because I'm in that situation. And so we're getting to this point, and he comes in, and he looks at the ops guy, and he goes, well, there's your problem. What do you mean, there's my problem? He's like, it's full. The ops guy.
Thank you. Everybody go home. You can go home now.
The ops guy looks at his workers that are over here on this kickout, and he goes, could you two turn around for a minute so I can kick his ass? So now this guy, he's got his laptop out, and he's grabbing packages, and he's looking at shit, and he's doing traces. He's like, well, nothing's diverting to these shoot. Nothing's diverting. Everything's on recirc. It's all got to go through here. And the ops guy goes, yeah, thanks for the information. I'm going to call him Dick. Just, it's a fitting name. Yeah, thanks for the information, Dick. But that's the same information Greg gave me 2 fucking hours ago.
Right.
So, it's now 7:30. And we're still having communications issues with the system. I've shut it down, and somewhere in the shutdown, someone hit a friggin' e-stop. So now we're scrambling to find this e-stop so we can actually get the system back up and running.
Okay.
At this point, the new day shift guy, because it's like 7:40 at this point, I'm supposed to be gone 3 hours ago, drops it to the next DEF CON level.
Oh!
And we're scrambling, and I'm doing everything I can. And it's 8:30 now. I live 70 miles away. I have to be back at 6. I have to be back at 6 o'clock that night. So I go to the controls lead that came in, and I'm like, look, dude, I'm only being nice by asking if you have it under control, because I'm going home. And this is what infuriated me. His comment is, I mean, you might as well. He didn't fix it all night.
Wow.
So I go, you know what? You're right. Fuck it. And I just walked away. And you know what? Normally, I don't really let the email notifications stay on while I'm at home. But I did today. Or I did that day. About an hour after I left, it got dropped to DEF CON 1.
Ah.
It did. And hey, you know what? I told him it was a systems issue. I was starting to isolate what the systems issue was until they pissed me off. And I went home. And guess what? The next place I was going to check is where they found the problem that was disabling all of those chutes. That took them until noontime to find. Wow. And I was on the brink of finding it at about 8 in the morning. And at that point, we would have only been in the DEF CON 2 for about 25 minutes, and that wouldn't have been too bad. And, what was it? They booked something like 500 lost hours onto us.
Wow.
Because there's a big multiplication of how they figure out their lost hours. Because it takes time to recover from all of those packages having to be just stopped. It takes time to get people back on the floor. They're paying people to sit around doing nothing.
Okay.
We're getting billed 500 hours. Because these clowns pissed me off, basically.
Wow.
Because if I had continued to work, they probably would have only been billing in the range of 150 for the downtime at that point.
Right.
And it was something like 4,000 or 5,000 units of product and 500 hours of lost time.
Jeez. Damn.
So then I get back in tonight. Or last night. I'm a day removed from it at this point. I was at work 24 hours ago. It all blends. Really, it does.
Mm-hmm. After a while, it does, yeah.
So I get in tonight. And one of our stations, because they have basically the conveyance leads up to this thing that it's automated, where it has multiple sets of conveyors to basically put product onto the big sorter. And it has multiple of these stations. And one of them keeps jamming up. So I go over, and it's been jamming up for a couple of weeks now. And I've always been so busy, I haven't actually had a time to look at it.
Quit jamming me.
So I go, and I look at it. And the conveyor leading into this set is like a 1/4 inch higher than the conveyor on the thing. So you want that conveyor a little bit higher so you don't have stuff gouging into the edge of the belt and tearing the belt up.
Right.
But what's happening is sometimes when boxes are coming, especially if it's a big box that doesn't have something heavy in it.
Does it have gamers in it?
It might. It might have games in it. That's a possibility. But sometimes it's a big box that's not very heavy. What's happening is it's going over, it's tripping the first light curtain on the front end leading edge of this station. Mm-hmm. But because it's lightweight, it's just hovering above that belt, and then the back belt stops. That belt's running, but that package isn't moving.
Oh.
So I go to my MHEs, and I'm like, drop the thing frickin' 3/16 of an inch. Make it even or about 1 thou higher, and this jam's going to go away. Yeah, that'll work. I know it'll work. That's why I told you to do it. So they do it at the next break, and guess what? That jam that's been happening for 4 weeks now, that they brought the installer in for an entire 8-hour day just to monitor that one area and figure out why it was jamming so much. And he's in there with his computer playing around with software and trying to figure this out and jam timers and blah, blah, blah. So it's been a problem for 4 weeks. I reported back to my boss. He's like, why aren't any of the other shifts finding this shit? Because literally, our shift, back half nights, is the only shift that is reliably fixing problems. Another thing I'm dealing with tonight is at one of the stations, we have basically rails, and these rails, they're basically a 4-rail setup that it allows you to snap this button module onto.
Okay.
And this button will light up to tell you, like, which area to put a product in, so you can be working multiple orders at the same time. And then,
so lit.
Yeah, and then it'll start flashing when that one's good to go, and you can push it off to the conveyance and send it on its way. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
One of these stations, the lights aren't working. There's correspondence on this trouble ticket and the work order. Let's see, yesterday, so 7th going into the 8th is when I finally fixed it. The correspondence was from the 4th.
Oh.
That's the last correspondence.
Okay.
That there is some issue with the station that needs to be investigated. So I go over, and none of these lights are working. So I'm like, okay, maybe they're just not programmed with the appropriate address. So I hook into the rail, and I open up the program utility that I've never used before, so I'm figuring it out as I go, because I've never worked on these stations before. So I'm figuring it out, reading the documentation for the software, figuring it out. And it's not responding back to me after I select the button to program with a serial number like it's supposed to verify that's the button. Okay, so it's not communicating, so it's not communicating to the PC either. Well, why not? So I got out my voltmeter, and I measure across 2 rails to see if I have voltage, and it's showing me 0. So I'm like, okay, let's see if resistance through the power supply is effed up or something. Right. I measure resistance across those 2 rails. I'm getting like 1 ohm, which basically, for people out there who don't understand what that means, it basically means there's a wire across those 2 rails that are supposed to be separate, isolated things. If you don't know what an ohm is measure of resistance. The lower the resistance, the better the connection between the two is. The lower the resistance, the more current can flow, basically.
Yeah.
So I measure the other set of 2 rails. So there's 4 rails per thing, and then 2 sets of these rails are connected together to each other. So I measure the 2 rails above that, and there's like half a megohm. So that's about what it should be going through an active power supply.
Right.
So now I go up to the top set of rails, which are connected in series. Same thing, measure the bottom 2 rails. 1.5 ohms.
Oh.
Measure the top rail, like 0.5, 0.6 meg.
Okay.
So I'm going through, and I'm like, okay. I pop off the power connector that connects the 2 rails. I pop it off, and metal shavings come falling out of it.
Oh!
I pop off the terminator cap at the end. One of the freaking 4 pins in there literally falls out as I take the cap off.
That's supposed
And guess what? So then I blow out all the metal shavings for the power connector, connect it back on. Don't put the terminator on, because that thing's effed.
Right.
By the time I got the terminator off, 2 of the pins have fallen off. Like, they had the worst cold solder joints I've ever seen on a non-Chinese made piece of equipment.
That's racist.
Chinese electronics, I've seen the worst soldering in my life. That is not racist. That is a fact.
Okay.
So I see this, and I measure it again, and guess what? Half a meg. And guess what? The system's working again.
Hey, Greg, they need to up your pay.
They need to up my pay and put me on a... Well, no, and the thing is, realistically, they're not going to want to move my shift, because back half nights is the shift that gets no support.
Right.
So right now, they're lucky in the fact that some of their best people are on the back half night shift. But they're not lucky because the back half nights guys are getting pretty pissed off that no other shift is actually fixing problems.
And justifiably so.
Like, I come in earlier this week. No, it's not even earlier this week. This is end of last week.
Okay.
Yeah, this is... It's either the end of last week or the very first day of this week. I'm trying to figure out a problem for a section of conveyance that keeps faulting out repeatedly. So, I finally isolate the single motor controller. And it's been faulting out for like 3 or 4 weeks at this point. And people's solution is just go hit the motor fault reset button and carry on, instead of investigating the problem. Because why would you want it to work?
No.
So,
overrated.
I get in. I'm checking this thing. I'm trying to finally investigate the problem. And I finally find the motor controller that's faulted. I finally find what the fault code is. And it's saying it's a motor disconnect fault. So the motor is, as far as it's concerned, the motor is not connected properly to the controller.
Okay.
So I check the cable connection to make sure it's seated properly. And it is. And after that, I just kind of watch it for a little while. And it happens again. So now it's like, okay, well, it's connected. So why the hell is it throwing me a disconnect fault? So I go in and I do some research on what the disconnect fault actually means and the way it tells if there's a disconnect. And I guess the way it works is these motors have 3 Hall effect sensors in them, which are basically a magnetic pickup.
Okay.
And as this motor rotates, it sends the correct sequence of Hall effect sensors back to the controller. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 3, 2, 1 if it's going in the other direction. Gotcha. So it's looking for that proper sequence as long as it's enabled and running.
Mm-hmm.
So if it doesn't see that sequence, it can trigger a disconnect. So presumably, that means the roller's bad. One of the Hall effect sensors in there are bad. So I get my guy to go. Can we just make like a Sing asterisk shirt, Kemet? Can we get on that one too?
Yeah.
Because that's great. That just needs to be a thing.
Yes, it does.
So I get my guy to replace it, and guess what? After we replace the thing, guess what section of conveyance hasn't faulted out since?
The one you replaced.
Correct. And you know what, though? It got replaced not during my previous shift, but the shift before. And I had told day shift. And day shift has twice the people on it as our shift.
Those cunts.
They have twice the people. I tell them this problem. they go, oh, okay, yeah, we'll get to it. I get in, and they hadn't replaced it. Drives me nuts. Drives me nuts.
Yarr.
So there you go. I tell you. There's the work rant. Oh,
that was good.
Such is life.
They do need to pay you more money. Or get you some hookers or something.
Like, just... I'm sorry. Maybe I'm jaded.
Don't be sorry.
Hour or two and your boys, you get up there. But, like, it's just... And here's what it is, right? And I made this realization because I was talking with a guy on our shift who he's already put his notice in, and he's only been working there for like a month and a half.
Okay.
He's put his notice in for two reasons. One, he heard back from a job he applied to long before this one that wants to pay him like $4 an hour more. And it's back to a Monday through Friday instead of back half nights. I'm not blaming him for leaving.
Right.
Like, yeah, now to find a good photo. It could be of Tim this time, Kemet, just so you know. We have a Greg shirt. Maybe we need a Tim shirt. No, it should be a Greg photo because that's how it came up.
Right.
And we're having this discussion. And I know, like, I understand that my role is, like, my specific job title is the higher paying job title.
Okay.
But I didn't know by, like, what the margin was. So in my category of job, I'm technically an entry level. I'm the lower end of that category because there's 3 tiers. I'm tier 1. Well, me as tier 1, this guy's talking about his raise he's going to get by going to this other job. His raise brings him to $1 an hour lower than I make, and he's tier 2 at his regular position. So he's like $5 an hour lower than me as a tier 2 in his position. And that's and that category of job is the second highest paying. So now I'm sitting here like, oh, so that's what it is. Because I get paid the most, I care. That's not going to fly for very long.
No.
Because I told my boss after I did the 14 and then came back in, and we still had problems with the sorter again tonight. I told my boss, I said, you know I'm on unlimited overtime right now, but guess what? I can pay my bills doing 40 a week. And I don't think you guys would appreciate it if I cut back to 10 hours a shift and that's it. I think you guys would have a very hard time. And I say that not from a place of arrogance. I say that from a place of it has already been proven repeatedly in just this past month and a half. Because how long has it been? Let's see. Give me 1 second. I can tell you how many weeks it's been. I'm on an odd number of weeks now because I got paid Friday.
Okay.
I'm pulling up my mobile banking app, and I'll tell you how many paychecks I've received. Because I get paid bi-weekly.
Not enough.
I get paid bi-weekly, so...
I get paid monthly.
So 1, 2, 3, 4... Yeah. So I've been there for 9 weeks. And I haven't even been in this facility for 9 weeks. Because remember, I had those 3 weeks of training where I was traveling all over the place.
That's right, yep.
I've been in this facility for 6 weeks. Yeah, bi-weekly. I get paid every other week. So I get paid. I have a 2-week pay period.
Yes.
Tim has a 4-week pay period.
Yes. I think he understands that. I think he was just making a...
I know. I just wasn't letting him successfully make that joke. That's all.
Okay.
I was denying.
I did because
him.
I'm very immature. So
I'm denying him. Yeah, I got that.
No,
I did get the joke, Kemet. I was just denying you. Denied.
I tried to help you, Kemet. I tried.
Denied. But yeah, so I've been there literally 6 weeks, and I'm pretty sure I've fixed more than anyone else. And I'm one of the most recent hires. Great photo for a shirt. Okay, I'm happy I gave you something then. You're welcome. It's infuriating.
Yeah, it's understandable.
It's truly infuriating. And it's just making me think, it's like, okay, how long am I going to last? Got a good idea for a song, though. Oh, boy. Sing. Yeah, I don't know. That's just my life right now. Because I went in tonight, and I literally said to, like, one of the leads on my shift, I was like, if that sorter goes down again, I'm literally just telling everyone to F off and I'm going home. Like, that's literally how I started the night, by telling operations that if this breaks again, I'm going home.
Fuck it out of here.
This is my F at night.
Deuces, bitches.
After yesterday, after doing an almost 15-hour shift, and here's the thing, right? 15-hour shift with how far I live from work turns into a 19-hour day.
Yeah. That would suck.
So basically, I've been sick this week, and I've done a 14, a 19, and a 14. The joke this morning, my lead, as I was leaving this morning, he said, "Are you sure you don't want to pick up a few more hours? I mean, I know you've only done 3 days this week, but you're already almost back to getting overtime pay." Because even entirely missing a 10-hour day, I got like roughly like 39 hours this week, plus my PTO. So I'm still making more than just a flat week, even though I entirely missed a day.
Right.
And it's frustrating. And the controls lead that I like, because we have 2 of them, he's trying to convince me to start picking up extra shifts on the front half of the week while we're still on unlimited overtime, because he also recognizes that I'm one of the only friggin' people who fixes shit. Sure. And he's like, oh, we just dropped some frames. We got a little bit framey there. No. Charter. Well, of course, leave it to Charter to frickin' drop our cable connection in the middle of the Red Sox playoff game. Of course. Like, screen just goes black. It's like, You don't need to. And it was like super high tension because it was right after we had gained a 1-run lead over the Astros, and the Astros were at the plate. But then we got to the 8th inning, or the 7th inning. We got to the 7th inning, and then we just stomped them. We won like 10-3. Much like your son's soccer game. Yeah. Did they have a big tour bus? And noisemakers? They might have. And horns and... Yesterday I drove home an hour and a half with only 1 contact in. There you go. In a storm. That was fun. It started raining as soon as I got out of work this morning. Makes it hard to drive with the windows down when it starts raining. Yeah, it does. Like, I held out as long as I could, and then my torso started getting wet, and I was like, the window's got to go up. It doesn't have to go up all the way because I have WeatherTech guards, the little rain visors there. Why was your window down? Because it was like 70 when I got out of work this morning. Okay. I like driving with the windows down, that's all. Okay. It keeps me awake. Right. When you're doing 70 down the highway and air is rushing in through the window, it keeps you awake. I imagine it does. So does getting wet. Ayo. So let's go on to your second rant. Ah, yes. Second rant's not as much of a rant. I'm watching the Sox game. Watching them try to grab on for dear life to keep their season alive. I hear a car horn. And one car horn, not out of the ordinary. Hearing a couple, like back to back. That's a normal thing, too. I live in a city, after all.
Right.
I don't think much of it. I hear it again. And again. And after it's been, like, consistently being hit every 35, 45 seconds to a minute or so for half an hour, I'm starting to get pissed.
For the love of God, stop it.
So I go outside, and I listen to find out where it's coming from. Then I get in my car. I do a drive around the block.
Drive by.
Try to figure out where the hell it's coming from. And, of course, why would they run it while I'm driving around the block?
Right. They knew.
They knew. So then, I go back in, and it's still going. So I turn up the game some. Out of sight, out of mind, right?
Sure.
And the game is over. And I turn the TV back down, and the horn's just still going off. So at this point, like, it's literally been going off for an hour and a half straight. It's like, what the hell are you doing? Because it's not even, like, solid horn or, like, an alarm horn. It's just, they're hitting the horn however they feel like it.
It's random.
And it's going for about 5 more minutes after the game. Then 10 more minutes. And then at that 12-minute mark, I lost my shit.
Does Wayne Brady got to choke a bitch?
I lost it, man. So I go outside. I go out to the furthest corner of my property near where the horn's coming from. And I yell, knock it off, after they stop the horn for a second. I yell so loud that both of my parents come out of the house to see who the hell's yelling.
Wow.
And then, after I yell, knock it off, they think they're being funny or cute or something, and they hit the horn a few more times. So then, I didn't even realize that I was even louder the second time. But I yell, even louder, knock it off with the goddamned horn. And, like, I realize that it's louder the second time after I yell it, because I hear a little bit of echo coming off the lake.
Ah.
So, like, everybody heard. I haven't heard the horn since.
You know what the next step was?
I was really close to getting back in the fucking car.
Shotgun blast in the air.
Or pistol, just a little warning shot.
Yeah, that'll
Unfortunately, I live next to a cop, so...
Oh, that's right. The cop that doesn't do anything.
Well, before I start going out and yelling, I hear the cop yell, shut up. I'm not yelling yet. I just hear the cop yell, shut up. And it's like a very meek and meager yell.
Shut up.
Basically. And, like, I only faintly hear him, and I'm, like, 2 properties over.
Okay.
So I get out. I'm on the corner of the property. Hands around my mouth. Knock it off. And I don't even want to get close to the same level because I have a window open right now for airflow.
Right, right.
And, like, I don't want to disturb the rest of my house. And not to mention, it'll peak the shit out of the microphone.
Yeah, well.
But, like, you know, like, when you get that really deep from the gut yell, it gets all raspy and angry sounding.
The dad yell, yeah.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
And like I said, the second one echoed. It just
fantastic.
Boomed out, and nothing else was heard from that point. And it's a good thing, because I was really close to figuring out where the hell it was actually coming from, and going right to their front door and telling them to shut the fuck up. I ain't afeared. So, but it didn't get to that. Luckily, because this was 25 minutes before the show that I yelled out that loud yell. What a rebel yell.
More.
Luckily, there was no more.
Right.
If they started doing the horn again during the show, I would have went ape shit.
That'd have been something.
I would have went ape shit. You probably would have. I would have just put my headset down, let you keep doing the show, and you probably would have heard me.
I hope so.
Because of course, there's nothing the city would do because it's not the 10 o'clock curfew yet.
Right.
So even though they've been hitting their horn like an asshole for the past hour and a half and pissing off everybody, no, there's nothing illegal about it. Like, if you think that there is something okay with using your horn for an hour and a half straight for no reason, I have two things. One, you're an asshole. And two, fuck you. So if you're one of our viewers and you think that that is okay, hit the goddamn unsubscribe button right now. Not cool. Get the fuck out. That's all. That's what I have to say. That wasn't as much of a rant as the first one because it was a much shorter thing. It wasn't building over the course of a month.
And that PSA is brought to you by Grexy96 Gaming.
Just get out. Oh, wait. That's a dick move? What's a dick move? Telling everyone to unsubscribe and get out? Okay, if it's a dick move. YouTube's dead anyways. You mean, oh, wait, that's a dick move?
I don't understand.
Oh,
no, never mind.
He thought that they've been doing that for a month. No, the work thing has been building over a month. That's why that was like a half-hour rant. And this one was like 5 minutes.
Got you.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's about it for Big Box Weekly.
Yeah, that's about all I got.
Yeah. Thinking about jumping on for a single round of Counter-Strike.
Ooh, I will join.
Okay. I'm going to grab some more water, and then I'm jumping on. So, just said it, Kemet.
Yep.
I will be streaming one round of Counter-Strike.
Yep, 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 yep. Yop, yop, yop.
Sing.
Sing.
You should
stream the shirt making.
Yeah.
I should. Hold on. I'm going to go follow Kemet.
I'm going to follow him on the Big Box account.
There we go.
I feel like I followed him on my account.
I did not yet. I did now.
Yeah, I followed him on Big Box. But yeah, so that's about it, I think. So thank you guys for watching, and unless Tim has any parting words of wisdom, we'll see you in the next one.
I don't.
Okay, peace.